Welcome to the Success with Jewelry podcast, where we invite you inside our conversations about business success and marketing for jewelry designers and entrepreneurs.
We're Laryssa and Liz, jewelry marketing experts with a combined 16 years of experience in jewelry marketing and proven track records in helping jewelry brands meet their goals. When you listen to or watch this podcast, you get an intimate and exclusive peek behind the curtain of all the things you wish you could know about earning success in the industry. Welcome to episode 2. We're glad you're here. In this episode, we'll be talking about the state of the industry. You'll learn the following 3 things. What is happening in the jewelry industry from our perspectives, how things have changed over the past year, and what we think you should be doing right now to find success. We also offer a gated version of this episode, which has further commentary on this topic and I think more, super valuable tips that you can start implementing in your business today. To get access to this exclusive content, sign up by visiting successwithjewelry.com. Membership is only $20 a month, and you get weekly extended episodes, personal engagement, interaction, answers to your questions by us, free webinars, courses, active group discussion, and a community, and probably so much more. Lots of things happening when you sign up for our Insiders group. But for now, Laryssa, let's get into it.
Thanks, Liz. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because a lot is happening in the jewelry industry now, and a lot has changed from 2020 through the COVID pandemic through today. So what are some things that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, I think we're back to in-person events, but at the same time, over the past couple of years, we've been really working on this online audience, and we've been talking to consumers and connecting with clients and collectors from all over the country and the world, and we don't want to neglect them. So we really need to be thinking about a hybrid approach as we go forward. We want to be both online and offline and make sure those two things are working together.
Definitely. I think as challenging as the pandemic has been, the one positive from it is that it's really inspired jewelry brands to think about how they're selling and to keep being more nimble and forward thinking in their approach to sales. And I do want to pause and say congratulations to all of you jewelry entrepreneurs out there who have weathered the pandemic and are still selling today, because you have needed to adapt in so many ways and continue rethinking your sales strategy. And I don't want to sell that short in any way. I think it's a really amazing feat. And so congrats to you all for that.
Yeah, it is not easy to be doing. And it's you to be thinking about your business continuously, and even now as things are getting back to normal, to be here listening to this podcast and thinking of new ways to push your brand forward is really exciting and awesome, and I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm glad you're here. So what has changed over the past year?
Well, definitely, as you said, the move to more of this hybrid approach. I think in-person events are really coming back. More jewelry designers and independent brands are, going back to those shows that they used to do prior to the pandemic, connecting with their target customers in person. So that's definitely one major thing that's happened.
Yeah, and you've been to the shows, but you don't need to get into it too much. I've been to some craft events locally, but I haven't been back. So you've kind of seen that shows are back in a real way.
Absolutely. And I think, in 2021, I went to JCK and it was a much smaller show, but the purchase intent was super high because retailers and buyers were really excited to get out there and refresh their inventory and buy everything that they needed to buy. This year, at least at the 2022 JCK show, it was a much bigger attendance, more exhibitors, but I think the vibe was more like, we're just excited to be back out. And I think, Liz, something you've noticed, yes, while that was true in June, now I think things are starting to even out a little bit more and achieve more of that new normal with like a normal intent from retailers and kind of more normalized attendance at some of these shows.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of looking at the New York shows that just happened, it feels like things are back to normal, which is kind of cool. But I think that a lot of things have changed from how brands should be interacting with the end consumer and their retailers that they have. But I think consumers are back to looking for this in-person experience. And we were talking about this with permanent jewelry. But before the pandemic, one of the hottest topics was that millennials weren't buying jewelry because they were buying experiences. And now that everyone can travel again and do stuff again, we're kind of seeing it. People choosing to go on vacation versus buying jewelry, and consumers really seeking these experiences. And we've mentioned piercing and permanent jewelry as two great examples of being really on trend right now, a lot of people flocking to it, and it being in line with what consumers are seeking at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to be so black and white. Like millennials are either traveling or they're either buying jewelry or whatever other like non-essential item that they're buying. Instead, let's find a way, like Liz said about the permanent jewelry and the piercings, to bring some of that like experiential element into the jewelry purchase because that's really what people are seeking and craving right now.
Yeah, and to add another element to it is how can you add an experience to the purchasing of your jewelry and then also take that offline experience and have it happen online too, or figure out a way to share a component of it online would be something that I'd really encourage you to consider doing. So let's move on to talking about what we actually think you should be doing to find success. And one of them that we kind of mentioned already is connect with your local community or connect with stores that you work with or local businesses or your top collectors to do something in person.
Definitely. I think one of my favorite marketing strategies right now is brand collaboration or business collaboration. And so it's kind of like this influencer model where in the past everyone's like looking for the right influencer to collaborate with. But instead, now let's look at other business owners who are reaching a similar target customer, who have the same goals you do, and you're kind of both equally invested. In what ways can you connect and partner to mutually, engage your target customer?
I love that. I love the idea of collaboration to either do in-person events, to create an experience for your consumer, or to figure out a way to do something virtually too. There's a lot of opportunity to get out there and think outside of the box. And I think end consumers and also retailers are open to these ideas at this point.
Yeah, and I think from a marketing budget perspective too, if we're talking about solopreneurs or small business owners, collaborating with a brand could be a way to pool your marketing resources so you can actually get more out of the effort than you would on your own.
Yeah, that actually makes me think about this brand that I was working with kind of in the spring when people were really just starting to get back out there. And they did an event that was like a yoga and floral and shopping event. So it was just kind of a like, I think the title of the event or the theme was like to reconnect or like to do something nice with your friends, and then there was a shopping element as well. And I thought that was a really interesting way to partner with local businesses, and I think they were all women-owned businesses, and they were all supporting each other, so it had that second layer of like really good energy. I love that idea of collaboration. And then they also did a virtual element too. I forget exactly what it was, but there was definitely jewelry available online and shopping, and they could have done a live stream as well to kind of bridge the offline and online for people who couldn't make it in person.
That sounds like a really fun event. I wish I could have gone to it.
Yeah, so I mean, thinking outside of the box is a really good idea, especially when it comes to connecting with your local community and also thinking of ways that you can partner with your retailers for events too is really important. But at the same time, continue to tell your story consistently online. So you want to make sure as you kind of figure out ways to do in-person events that all of the what you're saying, what you're doing out there is aligning with everything you're saying online, so that those two things are working together.
That's such a great reminder, Liz. I think everyone needs to kind of keep that in mind as their like North Star as they're experimenting with new marketing tactics and trying some of these tips for success.
And I want to leave you with one more tip that has been on my mind for a while, and it's just that keep thinking niche. Don't be afraid to keep leaning into your niche and getting more clear on who your audience is and being more specific in talking to them, because I think that one of the biggest things you can do to find success right now is to get bigger by thinking smaller and nurturing those one-on-one relationships and really being clear about who your audience is and talking directly to them.
That's really smart. I think niching down can be scary for people because it can feel like a smaller way of thinking. And then they're always worried, well, like, who am I excluding or who could potentially be missing out? But when you talk to everyone, you talk to no one. So having a niche and like really feeling confident that this is truly who your target customer should be, I think that's an amazing tip.
Yeah, and I think that it's so in line with kind of the state of the industry, the state of marketing right now, because there is so much noise out there. So the more clear you are on who you're talking to, the more success you'll find.
So, what did you all think about our take on the current state of the industry? Have you been looking for ways to collaborate with other businesses? In what ways are you trying to ensure that your brand is consistent, whether you're online or offline? We would love to know your thoughts. You can visit successwithjewelry.com to sign up for the extended episode, as well as an actionable tip, or many actionable tips actually, and a jewelry brand case study that we share at the end. Membership is just $20 per month for an exclusive peek behind the curtain into what it takes to build and grow a successful jewelry